we got to talk about something. I don't think I like this knife. This is the Rike Knives Bitey, and while a lot of Rike knives are really cool, this is one I don't think that I'm going to be able to get behind. Let's take a look at it, what I found so far first day in carry, because there's not been a lot of good. Alright guys, like I said in the intro, this may be the only time you see this knife on the channel, because first day in pockets, I'm not super impressed with it. Now this is a very cool concept. This is the Rike Knives Bitey, B-A-I-D-I. Now this is a cool knife in concept. So what I'm looking at, I haven't looked everything up on it. I do know how to disassemble it. This is in M390. I believe that this is a DLC coating. It's got a very, very cool, like fat carbon or Corbo Quartz style carbon fiber. The colored carbon fiber, really, really cool. It's done in a modified Wharncliffe. It's got this big fuller, which is your deployment method, either a slow roll or you can reverse flick off of it. Now, it's got a really cool blade shape and everything. What it's really got going for it is some cool features in the disassembly. This is one of those knives that you can disassemble, and that's pretty much the cool thing. That's the only positive thing I've seen on this. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. I'm going to lay something down so I don't get grease all over my... actually, I can do it. We're going to disassemble this knife. I'm going to show you the cool feature of this. So this is done in a no tools disassembly fashion. So you can see there's a little arrow here that tells you to lift up on that, but you got to do it with the blade open. Lift up on that and it pops loose. Then you close the blade and you take out this entire backspacer. Now, one of the cool things about it is in the construction, that is your stop. There is no stop pin in this knife because you see now that I've taken that apart, you can take it way past the lock point. So then you simply take this. You don't even need you can use a nickel if you need it, or I'm sorry, a quarter or a penny, but really it's not in there. You can just finger tight it in, and then you just unscrew this and you take it out, you set it off to the side, and then you just simply lift the scale off. Now, that seems pretty simple. Come on off. Seems pretty simple. Your bearings are under here, your washer for your bearing race, and then there's a positioning pin that stays here. That seems pretty simple. Getting it apart, getting it back together, not as easy as it sounds, because while this is a keyed pivot, it's only keyed to this side, and so that gets out of position every time, and you have to spin the pivot back down and then put your scale back on. So you got to make sure that your scale is right. It's set up for the keying, and there you go. Now it's in, and you simply do everything in reverse. And now I can spin that back over. Now I've got the knife in, and I can just put my screw back in, finger tight, and then basically close that, put this back in. It's hard to do. It's hard to do from behind the camera. I'm sorry, guys. Put that in and then lock that in place. And now you've reassembled the knife. So that is a really cool concept. You don't require any tools to take it apart. That's the good part about this knife so far as I've seen. But like I said, first day in pockets, I will give it a fair shake. So let's go ahead and talk about all the bad things that I've noticed on this first day in pocket, right after you guys hear from Coffee Brand Coffee.
No one likes to watch ads in the middle of a video. I don't like putting them in, but I do know that I gotta support what I do here, so I partnered with companies that I know I can trust. And today's sponsor is Coffee Brand Coffee. They're delivering quality coffee, freshly roasted on demand, ground to order and delivered to your door, and they're not doing anything political, so you don't have to worry about a company that you're supporting that is supporting causes that you might not agree with, because they don't support any causes. They just simply take the money and put it back into making a better product. So I would appreciate if you both support their new small business and my channel by checking out Coffee Brand Coffee and looking at their offerings. Use the link below and my coupon code Crazy Sharp on their website. It's Crazy Sharp, all one word, capital C, capital S. Let's get back to this.
So while that's cool, and I did want to show you that, I want to tell you why I just don't know if we're going to see this knife on the channel again. First and foremost, it's really thick behind the edge. You can see here, it doesn't transition very well at all. Let me zoom in and show you. So it's a relatively thick behind the edge profile on this. It's really thick and it cuts, but it doesn't cut great in my opinion. Next thing, the feel in hand, it's just awkward. It's almost too thick, which I like a knife that is nice and thick, but I think it's almost too thick. And I think it's to accommodate the deconstruction method you've got here. You got to have that space for that. Next thing, this is really weird and awkward. Your lock bar access, while it's okay and it's deep and everything, it still doesn't really feel like you've got good access to the lock bar. Even though they've removed all this material, like that lock bar is really thin and it just doesn't feel like you have good access to it. Next thing, D10 on this is really, really soft. Super, super soft. As a matter of fact, it's really easy to not, like if you want to reverse flick it, like you got to really make sure you're on that the way you want it. And it's only the fuller. You can't actually get in that aperture. It's really easy to miss because it's very close. So even though you have that big fuller to flick off of, you got to like consciously make sure you're on it. It gives it really cool lines, I will say. But basically that's it. It's just cool looking. Rike does a lot of really good stuff, but I'm just not on it with this. And then one of the next things, it doesn't have a flipper. It is reverse flick only. That's going to drive a lot of people nuts, but that's not the biggest thing about this. If you guys look, I've cleaned this up several times. Your detent track is fully exposed right there. I mean, it's completely out. And no matter how much you try to keep it clean, you're always going to have oil coming up out of that because you got to oil your bearings, which are very, very close. And you have to oil your detent, which is also really close. So you got oil all over everything. There's just no way to keep the oil out of it. And then you're going to have stuff building up on your blade. It's just not a good look. I just don't find this to be a great knife. Is it attractive? Yes. Everything that Rike does has got this crazy level of attractiveness and flashiness. And that's the problem, is a lot of times these Rike knives put flash and pop over actual function. And I think this is another one of those cases. The jimping on it, I do have to say, is okay, but there's just too little substance and all fluff. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think this will be a knife for me. I will give this a fair shake. You guys know I do. I'll give it a fair shake. I'll try to find some things about it. But so far today, the only thing I found about it that's even intriguing has been the disassembly. So let's turn this around and send you out about your day.
So all that being said, Rike makes some amazing knives. And they always have been at the forefront when it comes to engineering and machining and things like that. The Rike Hummingbird, case in point, being able to make a flipper knife with bearings that small was amazing. With all that said, this knife is a knife that really just doesn't speak to me. We will see. Like I said, I like to give every knife a fair shot, but just to be safe, this may be the only video you see about this, or I'll do a "this knife is horrible" video. I don't like doing those, but at any rate, it is kind of a cool concept. It's a good looking knife. It's striking. It's just not necessarily an EDC functional knife for me. So with that being said, guys, that's it on this video. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't, give them a thumbs down. You want to support the channel? There are 2 companies down below that I have got links for that have discounts built in. They are my channel sponsors. It's Coffee Brand Coffee, Tempered Trail. Pretty sure I put a Coffee Brand Coffee ad in. I'm filming this well after the body of the video. There are also a couple of companies that I have got a coupon code for you guys. And that would be Rosecraft Blades and Ferrum Forge Knife Works. You have a coupon code of Crazy Sharp, saves you 5% at checkout at both of those vendors. I've got an Amazon store. Take that link, pin it to your browser, do it for any shopping you're going to do on Amazon. It doesn't cost you anything at checkout, and it supports the channel. And the final way is I've got a membership that's got a litany of benefits for you guys. Everyone has access to my private Discord. Everyone gets early access to videos. Everyone gets exclusive content. Baseline and premium guys, they get entered into giveaways that I do on the Gilded server, and the premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series that's here on YouTube behind that paywall. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, and I'll see you next time.